I'm Jeff. This story starts with these two. These are my kids. And we were hiking through the Oakland woods when my daughter noticed someone had thrown a plastic tub of cat litter into a creek. And she looked at me and she said, "Daddy, that doesn't go there." And when she said that, it reminded me of when I was a kid. I used to go to camp. And on the morning of visiting day, right before they'd let our anxious parents come barreling through the gates, our camp director would say, "Quick, everybody go pick up 5 pieces of litter." So now you get a couple hundred kids, each picking up a few pieces, and within a few minutes, we had a much cleaner camp. And I thought, why not apply that crowdsourced cleanup model to the entire planet? That was the inspiration for Litterati. The vision is to create a litter-free world. Let me show you how it started. I took a photograph of a cigarette butt using Instagram. Then I took another photo, and another photo, and another photo, and I noticed 2 things happening. One, litter became artistic and approachable. And 2, at the end of a few days, I had 50 photos on my phone, and I had picked up and either thrown out or recycled each and every piece. And I realized that I was effectively keeping a record of the positive impact I was having on the planet. That's 50 less things that you might see or you might step on or some animal might eat. And so I started telling people what I was doing. And they started participating, using Instagram, photographing litter, adding this hashtag Litterati, and then throwing out or recycling the item. And one day this photo showed up from China. And that was when I realized that Litterati was more than just a collection of pretty pictures. We were becoming a community, and the community was generating a lot of data. So each photo tells a story. It tells us who picked up what, a geotag indicates where, and a timestamp tells us when. So the next thing we did was put together a Google map and started plotting the individual points where people were picking up individual pieces of litter. And as the community grew, well, the data grew. My 2 kids go to school right in the bullseye. Litter, it blends into the background of our lives, but I started wondering, what would it look like if we brought it to the forefront? How might we use the data to make a difference? Well, let me show you. The first is with cities. The city of San Jose contacted us early on during a whole Valentine's Day campaign. They wanted to spread the love. And the way they did that was use Litterati to get their citizens involved to keep their city clean and show their love for their community in doing so. San Francisco caught wind of that and said, we have a slightly different idea. They wanted to understand what percentage of litter came from cigarettes. So long before Litterati existed, the city of San Francisco put people in the streets with pencils and clipboards, and they walked around and created that collection, that data, and that led to a 20-cent sales tax on all cigarettes. You can imagine that created a massive revenue stream for the city of San Francisco, and then they got sued by Big Tobacco, who claimed that pencils and clipboards were neither precise nor provable. And so I got this phone call from the city who said, "Hey, we heard about Litterati. Can your technology help us?" And I don't think they recognized that our technology at the time was simply my Instagram account. But I said, yes, we can. And so we did. 4 days and 5,000 pieces later, Litterati's data was used in court to not only defend, but double the tax, generating $4 million a year in annual recurring revenue for the city of San Francisco to help clean itself up. Now, during that process, I learned 2 things. One, Instagram was not the right tool, so we built an app. And 2, if you think about it, every city in the world has what we call a unique litter fingerprint. If you could generate an interesting tax revenue just from cigarettes, well, what about soda cans, candy wrappers, potato chip bags, and coffee cups? How might you use that data to just be smarter about where we place trash cans? And if you could do it for San Francisco, well, what about Oakland or Central Park or much closer to home or somewhere not so close to home? The second group is brands. We've started doing quite a bit of work there. I'm going to give you 2 examples. The first was with Whole Foods, who ran an Earth Day campaign. Anybody who brought in 1 Litterati photograph got a free baked good. Whole Foods was excited for 2 reasons. One, It was good PR. And 2, they knew anybody who came in for that free baked good was going to shop. Let me give you an idea of where we're headed. This is a block in downtown Oakland, and it's covered in blight. The Litterati community got together and picked up 1,500 pieces. And here's what they learned from the data. 1, most of the litter on that block came from a very well-known taco brand. Most of that brand's litter were their own single-use plastic hot sauce packets. And the real kicker is that most of those hot sauce packets haven't even been opened. So now imagine if you work with that brand in a creative and collaborative way. Imagine if that brand can now take this environmental hazard, turn it into an economic engine, and suddenly they become an industry hero. The last group that we've done a ton of work with are schools. And frankly, if you're really going to create long-term transformative change, where better to start than with our kids? Kids have started creating art exhibits, citizen science projects. I'll give you one example of perhaps my favorite school. It's a group of 5th graders in a town called Modesto, California. They picked up 1,247 pieces just on their schoolyard. And they learned that the most common type of litter on their campus were the plastic straw wrappers from their own cafeteria. So these 5th graders went to the principal and said, "Why are we still buying straws?" And they stopped. And they learned that individually they could each make a difference, but together they created an impact. And what we say at Litterati is it doesn't matter if you're a student or a scientist, whether you live in Honolulu or Hanoi, this is a community for everyone. It started with 2 little kids in the Northern California woods. And today we're in 113 countries. And the way we're doing it is one piece at a time. Thank you.